So everyone, welcome to our Get Your Time Back monthly coaching series. Now, the fun part is this is going to be a launch of a 5-part series. I'm going to really share some stuff on this webinar. Where I am right now, where I'm focusing my energy, where we can grow together. And I really want to dive into, and Paul has helped me out a lot with this, Paul Lippert, and talking with Abby. I've been working with a lot of people, and I've been coaching some top level people and going through the process, and I keep reminding myself of the coach client relationship. And there's a lot of info in the Coaches Network, and you guys are going to love all the new videos that are coming on that. But I wanted this to be a 5-part series that I'm going to do every 2 weeks. So I'm not going to do it monthly. It's going to be every 2 weeks. That's going to have assignments for you. That's going to really help you, in my opinion, help you maximize those 5 parts. When we look at traffic and marketing and really optimizing your funnel, to then performing a top-notch assessment, to then delivering a powerful program presentation, to then mastering your coaching follow-ups, and then the final part, generating referrals. And my goal and objective at the end of this 5-part series is for you to take your business by improving it by 70 to 80%. And I believe if you can implement the strategies that we're going to work on together, and you really dive in and you take on the assignments, that you can take your business and brand to a whole nother level. So if you're open for that, let's dive on in. Now, part of this, I'm going to be sharing some stuff that I've gone through. So not everyone on this, we have many partners that are part of Venice Nutrition that never partner with Core, that aren't involved in the Jeunesse aspect, that I'm going to share some stuff just because it's been part of what we've done. Like, I've invested time into this. And in life and in business, you have to make choices and things come up and you have to look at it. 4 years ago, when I looked at, I'm going to pull up a slide. I'm going to kind of use the analogy as we do it. So as we go through this, let me pull up my PowerPoint here. And let me go. I'm going to jump ahead a little bit. So right here, and don't do this assignment yet because I'm going to walk you through it. But if you look at your screen, there's 3 types of revenue. So I just want you to think about throughout this whole webinar, I want you to keep thinking of that. We're health pros, okay? We're health enthusiasts. We're entrepreneurs. And health pros a lot of times, hey, don't talk about money. But this is about generating revenue for you to expand your brand and deliver your message in a way. So revenue matters. The fun part is that when you have digital offerings and books, you can give as much away as you want as free. I've given away hundreds of 8-week runs already because that's time that's not my time. But when I look at a business, there's really 3 types of revenue, and you have to look at this with yours. And I want you to kind of dive in as I'm gonna go back. This is like in the second slide of my presentation. But cash flow, digital cash flow, and residual revenue. As Venice Nutrition and myself, there's been 2 main missions in life: to help people get their body back, and to help fellow health pros and entrepreneurs get their time back. I never want someone to struggle the way I struggle with my body, and I never want a fellow entrepreneur to struggle the way I did with time. Feeling trapped, feeling that you own 6 nutrition practices, but you're stuck, and you're traveling and you're commuting and you feel like you're selling your time, and no matter what you charge, you're burning yourself out. I don't want people to live that way. So when I started looking at diversifying our portfolio back in 2003, we looked at what's our time, what's our cash flow coming from the time we're spending, what's our digital cash flow, and what's our residual revenue. And in 2003, guess what? It was 100% time cash flow, 0% digital, and 0% residual, which means that every month, no matter how great our month was, selling our time again. And I'm not saying that in a bad way, but I want to educate you through this whole 5-part series, because I'm not going to cover it all tonight, but to show you how the transition occurs. But what I started seeing, in part, it brings me to the partnership that we did with Monavie, is that we started diversifying. We created our own certification and licensing program. We launched online subscriptions. So we started to create a digital certification course on multiple fronts. So we started looking at taking that 100% to then making 20% digital and 10% residual. Well, now we're at the place where, when we look at time cash flow, my time cash flow is like 5% of our business, if that. And that's mostly like spokesperson deal and speaking and things like that. So we went from 100% time cash flow and within 12 years changed our entire model of our business. And let me tell you, what we're doing now together as a community is going to be better than anything we've done. But part of that partnership with Monavie is 4 years ago, they wanted me to be a spokesperson, wanted me to represent Reveal. I was honest with Dallin. I said, hey, this is not this. You guys are teaching dieting, so we changed it. Many of you know the journey that we walked with that. Product people made choices that affected everything. The first 2 years of Monavie, we lost revenue. With my contract and my deal and the time I invested in that took away from other things. We didn't make revenue from that. Now, were we compensated? Yeah, but not at the point of if we would have invested those 2 years into something else. The positive thing from that is that I learned. I created great partnerships with many of you during those times, which brought us to Core. And when Core happened, I created the 8-week run. We're going to launch it in the book. And then I went to Mint, Mauricio, and I said, this is what we want to do. Let's do a product line together. And it was great. And TSG wasn't going to sell the company for less than $100 million. Fast forward, Core is growing 10% a week. We're ready to launch in Europe. And in March, TSG, because they were losing $30 million every quarter because they're an equity firm. They bought them because they had an underproducing company, not through Core, but through everything else that was happening. What happened? They sold for $15 million to Jeunesse. So the past 4 months have been interesting for us because part of our portfolio is this residual revenue. And I'm sharing this with you is because a lot of things are going to happen to you and your business. And this is what I want to be raw and honest in this series, because I'm more motivated than I've ever been, and I'm clear on decisions I've made and partnerships we had. But because we had great time cash flow, digital cash flow, and other residual revenue, we didn't take a hit. With Core, we lost something that could have been, but we're coming out and emerging stronger with that. And I'm smarter now in my negotiations with Jeunesse, in talking to them. And that's when we were in Orlando. And at the end of this webinar, I'll talk about the future of what's coming with that. But let me tell you, it's fantastic. And it took me the 4 years of learning. So where you sit right now with your businesses, as you take on this partnership, I want to help you, because wherever you sit right now in your business, I can personally guarantee you I've been there. I've had the tough moments. I still have the tough moments. I have the days where I'm saying, man, I'm tired of this. All of that, every emotion that you have, I have. And what I can share with you is that if you're clear on it, if you get clear on your vision, the greater purpose of what we do is what makes that difference. And that's my objective tonight and this entire series, is to empower you, inspire you, and show you a path that can help you take your business and brand to the next level. So let's dive on in. 3 types of touch points. And I really want, this is going to be an interactive aspect. And it doesn't have to be interactive that you're posting. You can answer questions and say that. I love that. I want you to do that. But I want you to be interactive at your home or your office that you're at right now. The 3 touch points you have to keep thinking about as we go through this series: one-on-one, group, and online. One-on-one, group, and online. All 3 of them, when I say touch points, are revenue generators and allow you to reach. I want you to rate your percentage of each one right now. Your 24 hours in a day in your business, the cash flow you're bringing in, the revenue you're generating, how much is coming from one-on-one, how much is coming from group, and how much is coming from online. And when I say online, and I'll show, when you go to VeniceNutrition.com and someone goes to that site and they buy a digital package, that's an online sale. When someone goes to Amazon and buys a book, that's an online sale. Even though it goes through Harper, that's an online. Online is basically, you're not doing anything from that perspective, that it's there. Now, we're going to talk about online leads, but I want to talk right now about the revenue you're generating, how much is coming from one-on-one, how much is coming from group, and how much is coming from online. Rate your percentage of each one. So right now we have someone, I won't mention names here because this is your business, 80% from one-on-one, 20% from group, and 0 from online. And that's, just remember, that's where I've been. So that's better than when I was. So 20, 80, and 0. So 20 one-on-one, 80 group, 0 online. So remember, whether it's one-on-one or group, it's still selling your time. And there's nothing to matter with that. Our goal here is not for you to abandon where you're making your cash flow. Our goal here is for you to evolve into additional revenue systems. 30, 70, 0. 40 one-on-one. So the next one is group and online. So you have to rate all of them. Now, the next thing I want you to share throughout this series, you can't do it right now, but I want you to start thinking about what can you do to start shifting the tide on that. So if you're an 80-20-0, I'm pretty certain that everyone on this webcast, because I'm seeing the names on it, every single person on this one can do a 4-part podcast series that could sell for $2.99. I'm pretty certain everyone can do that. Do a 4-part iPhone video series that can sell for $5.99 or $6.99. My point is, you don't have to worry about being great at something. If you want to start learning how can you duplicate, these are things where you have to start saying, what can I do better on one-on-one? What can I do better group? What can I do better online? Now, I'm going to share how you're going to turn that back around to increase your revenue. So number one, what's your percentage of each? So great. We have one that's a 10, 80, and 10, which is great. And then someone has their ebook coming out. So the whole point is you start shifting that. Now, the next question you have to ask yourself is the first slide I showed you. What is your revenue coming from right now? So I want to know what your cash flow revenue is, what your digital cash flow is, and what your residual revenue is. This is something that you need to put up on your wall that you see every single day. And right now I want you to envision a flip chart or a whiteboard, and you have a line, two different lines. One says time cash flow, digital cash flow, residual revenue. And I want you to write down what the percentages of each one are. And I want you to write down what that cash flow is. So let me work with you. So cash flow for Venice Nutrition. Certification is a $2.99 cert. 8-week run right now is an intro for $47. Initial, we could say that the subscription, even though that's residual, it's a $129 or a $19.95. Licensing, advanced coaching, phone coaching, these are cash flow. Digital offering, certification again. So digital, that's not a time cash flow. That's digital cash flow. Those are all digital cash flow. Time cash flow for Venice right now, from me particularly, would be speaking. When I get hired to be a keynote speaker, when I get hired as a spokesperson, when I get hired one-on-one. So because I have residual and digital cash flow, that raised my rate. So when I do a 3-month coaching program, it's $5,000 to do a 3-month coaching package for someone. When I do a keynote presentation, it's between $5,000 and $10,000. That only exists because of the other aspects. So my point is that, and I'm giving particular numbers because I want to be really clear on where you can take stuff and where you can take your brand, because I'm not nearly at the top like other people are. And that's my goal, is I'm saying my time is so valuable. When we look at time, we have to honor where we give that away. So we have to make sure that we're clear on our residual and our digital. So right now I want you to write down your percentages of each and what you're selling on each of those. And let me see some things that people are saying. So cash flow for one is 100%, digital 0, residual 0. I love this too, because I'm seeing some nice little smiley faces with some sweat coming. Well, not really smiley faces. Let's see some more. What's your time cash flow? What's your digital cash flow? And what's your residual? Write down the percentage and write down what the offer is. Now, before we go to the next slide, this is what I'd like you to say. Tonight, I want a commitment from you. That I want you to commit to one form of digital cash flow that you're prepared to launch by the end of this 5-part series. So within the next 2 months, I want at least one digital cash flow you're prepared to launch. And I want one form of residual revenue. Or residual revenue can be a monthly subscription to something. It can be supplementation, like when we talk about Jeunesse and direct selling. There's multiple ways you can make residual revenue. So time cash flow, 100%. And this is where I know a lot are going to be. So what we want to start looking at is I want a commitment. So please write this down for a digital cash flow and something from a residual revenue. Okay, everyone got that? So nice. So we have one that's 90% classes coaching, 0 digital, but 10% residual from products. We got 75% time, digital 15, residual 10. That's great. That's a great portfolio right there. We have 100, 0, 0, but changing soon to 70, 30. So when we start looking at that, that's what you want to see. So these are the things we have to start looking at. Now, tonight's webinar, and I have a bunch of slides to show you and some worksheets to show you, is about traffic and marketing. So this is part one. But before you can get there, we had to address those particular things, because throughout this entire series, you have to still be clear on where your revenue is coming from and where are you spending your time. Now, I want you to write down on a piece of paper is you're going to building your list. So I want you to put building your list, and I want you to also write this, and I know this might be uncomfortable for some. I want you to write money is in the list. So building your list and money is in the list. Whether it's online, one-on-one, or group, this is the exact same formula. So I know as I was teaching so much about the online presence, is that some people say, oh, I got to do everything online. I think that's the biggest mistake you can do. I've seen too many people abandon their cash flow to do stuff online. It reminds me back in 1996, when I was running Gold Gym Northridge, we had a manager come in, and the gym wanted to create residual revenue. So they stopped doing paid in fulls, and they just started doing EFTs. Now, EFTs is when you do your monthly memberships. Now, a lot of gyms don't do that as much anymore, but these would be year contracts. The problem, though, with the $29.95 a month EFT is that it's a long-term subscription, but you're giving up a $350 or $300 paid in full gym membership. So the gym started doing that off the advice of this advisor, this consultant, and they lost 50 grand in 2 months. And the reason why is because they abandoned their cash flow too soon. Your cash flow is your bread and butter. The shift that happened was the gym would then sell a certain amount of paid in fulls to cover their monthly expenses. And then once they hit that goal, they would then shift to all EFT. That's how you would do it. So that's how we look at it, is that your residual revenue, your digital offering, your ultimate goal is for that to cover your monthly expenses for your business and your personal. So that by the first of the month, every ounce of revenue that comes in, you already know your expenses are covered for. It's all profit, and you can invest a percentage back into your business. You can invest a percentage into other investments, and you can build. And that's what the gym started doing after they lost that initial 50,000. Does that make sense to everybody? Everyone have that down? I want to make sure you're clear on that. Okay, perfect. So traffic, opt-in, offer, close, referral. I want you to write these things down. Building your list and the money in the list is you need traffic. Without traffic, there's no, and that's what we're talking about tonight. There's really no, you don't have a list. You need to have an opt-in online and an assessment in person. You need to have some type of offer that you're going to sell. You need to close or enroll them. And then you need to have a referral or affiliate program. It's that simple, guys. So the goal with this 5-part series is to really dive into where is the off. So right now I want you to think about those 5 things, and I want you to rate how good you are at each one. So when you look at traffic, rate your traffic 1 through 10. 10 being the best, that you're unbelievable traffic, and 1 being the worst. And traffic means that you have, whatever size of business you have a steady flow of people coming in. Opt-in and assessment. I want you to rate how great your opt-in is or your assessment is. If you don't have a digital offering, don't worry. What's your assessment breakdown? Are you good at assessments, or do you struggle with that? What's your offer? Are you confident in what you're offering people? Are you clear in your packages? Do you present it well? What's your close? Do you freeze up when you talk money? Are you leading them correctly? What's the enrollment process on that? And then are your clients referring people to you, and do you have an affiliate program in place? I want you to rate yourself right now. I won't talk, but rate yourself on each one of these, 10 being the best, 1 being the worst. Rate yourself on that. So we have an opt-in that's 3, an offer that's 3, traffic that's 6, so that's good. Traffic 10, opt-in 10, offer 10, close 9, referral 10. That's good. Traffic 10, I would say, and once again, you rate it based upon your business. I would rate our traffic with Venice like a 3. And we get a lot of traffic, but it's still not where it should be. So once again, it's your business. So you have to ask, so traffic means that you have unlimited. If you're a 10, it means you have so much overflow that you have to go from that perspective. So you have to keep looking at at how can you look at it and where can you go better. I like that. So if you can't keep up with the traffic, but you don't have a digital offering or any residual revenue, that's a challenge. And I think you know it. So traffic opt-in assessment. So everyone has that. Rate that 1 through 10. And then I want you to rate where you would like it to be a month from now and 2 months from now. So where you are and where you want it to be a month from now and 2 months from now. Now, let's dive into creating your traffic funnel. These are the questions I want you to ask yourself. If your traffic is not as strong as it is, or you don't think it, or you think it can be better, I want to know, what's your plan for your traffic? What's your schedule that you're spending on improving your traffic? Who are you actually talking to? What platforms are you leveraging? And where are you driving people? So these are the questions you want to keep asking yourself. So let's talk about your plan. With Venice, and I'm going to talk about when I coached clients full time. We're going to talk online at a different place, but I want to talk directly about one-on-one coaching, because I think the majority of people on right now is 75% or higher of the cash flow is coming from one-on-one and your time, or group, your time. So when I looked at my plan with traffic, is I understood that I needed to get assessments. I needed to start going from that. So I'm going to exit out of this PowerPoint for a second. And I'm going to open up this action plan. Now, this is the action plan in the Coaches Network. But what I did was this, and this was very simple, is I looked at that this is who I am and how was I going to get traffic. So I knew that I had an offer. I was coaching people. So I had to immediately look at, okay, what was going to be my number one thing is I had to contact the Center of Influence and warm leads. Now, when we built Venice, this is why I recommend you partner with a health facility, is we were right next to Gold Gym Venice. So my number one way to generate traffic was I got new memberships every single day that enrolled at Gold's Gym. And every morning I would go in, get this, and I did the same thing when I ran Gold Gym Northridge, and I would invite everyone in for a complimentary assessment. So my number one form of traffic was, hey, this is Mark McDonald with Venice Nutrition, right next to Gold Gym Venice. Thanks for taking on your membership. With your membership, you get a complimentary nutrition assessment. What would be available for you? I can see you Wednesday or Friday at this time. I would make literally 200 of those calls a day. Now, you might partner with a different gym and people say, well, I don't like to make calls. Well, initially, that was our number one flow, because we wanted to do assessments. So we had to improve our traffic. Now, we also looked at building relationships with local businesses and cross promotion. So in the local gym in Venice there, and then local gyms, I'd go and I'd talk to all the health facilities. I'd say, hey, do you have a nutrition program? No. Well, why don't I refer you clients for your training? And you refer clients, and I'm going to pay you a referral fee, and we can cross promote. Now, I know we have 8-week run digital offering. I know there's 8-week experiences. There's a lot of different offerings that you can do now, but I'm just saying grassroots level. If you're not getting enough traffic, you got to go grassroots. Social media is great. All these things are great, but nothing's better than reaching out to people and touching them. And then the third thing is I went to networking events. I wouldn't do like chamber of commerce. I mean, that's okay. Some people can do that and it works. I didn't see great success with that, but I would go to network events for triathlete clubs and I'd look at running clubs because I had an offering that they could do, so I would implement that. I had clients, as clients started coming in, there were wellness programs. I remember back in Venice in 2001, we launched the workplace wellness with MTV, which then allowed us to launch one with the Ritz-Carlton. And we started just doing wellness programs where I would do group programs, and I would go and I would do the same things with real estate offices. And I'd say, hey, I'll come and do a free lunch and learn at your facility to educate them on how to maximize their food and fitness in the workplace. And then we'll give everyone a complimentary 60-minute or 30-minute free nutrition assessment. And I'd go in there and I'd have everyone give me their business card. I'd say, we're going to give away a free coaching program at the end of this event, this lunch and learn. So, but you have to put your business card in. So I'd collect all their information. I'd get the list right there. I'd get like 40 business cards. We'd give away a free coaching program. And then we'd call everyone, and probably we'd enroll about 20 to 25% of those people. These are all ideas that you don't have to be fantastic at from there. Then the fifth thing, write articles and begin pursuing local, national media outlets. Don't worry about national, just local. I love what Renita Brennan's done in North Dakota. She became regular on her North Dakota show. So these are all little things. You can do the Huffington Post. I mean, there's so many other vehicles now, social media and Facebook. But I think too many times we get so caught up in Facebook and social media. And I was talking to my buddy who's rocking Periscope right now. And I said, well, how are you making money from that? Well, I'm building my following. I said, okay, well, what's that helping you with? What's your offer? What are you driving them to? Well, I'm going to drive them to some supplements. Well, you're driving them to another company and another product. What about your brand? What about where you are? Are you going to do a video series or at least write an ebook? How are they going to buy your stuff? Look, I'm clear that we're all partners here in Venice Nutrition, but this is not about you promoting Venice. It's about you promoting you. Now, Venice, my goal is to create great stuff that we can partner on together and help you grow. But I will never be promoting, you never heard me talk about Core, like, hey, go to Core. No, you go to your site. You promote that. Now, Jeunesse, Core, that's a product that you can promote, that you can partner with to help build your brand, to leverage, to create an offering for your clientele. Venice, the 8-week run digital, our affiliate program, VN Client Management, all these tools are to help your life easier while still elevating and building your brand. That's how we grow together. I had a great talk with Mark and Tracy Regan, phenomenal health pros today. And it was all about, what can we do in Canada to build your brand and at the same time offer the Venice thing so we grow together. That's what this is all about, guys. It's about us growing together. So but if you're thinking about Facebook is going to be this driver for you, you'll get some return on that. You can do Facebook ads. There's a lot of things you can do. But just be clear that at the end of the day, you need traffic and you need cash flow. And if you're not making enough traffic and you're not creating enough cash flow for yourself, you got to start there. Then you slowly chip away 5% at a time at your digital offerings and at your residual revenue. But the fun stuff about direct selling, this is why I like it, is that when it's done correctly, it can help build your residual revenue. Kevin Lawrence built PowerCrunch, and I know you guys know that. PowerCrunch, Kevin Lawrence, the CEO, the founder, one of my best friends, did direct selling for 3 years, made about $7 million, used that money to make PowerCrunch, which is now about a $200 million company. So part of it is honoring your clients, learning how to maximize your revenue, and leveraging that to grow in other avenues that you want. Okay. So that is when I look at traffic in your funnel. Now let me go back to the PowerPoint. I'm all fired up today. I hope you guys can see that. So hold on. Okay. So this is what I want you to start thinking about. What's your plan? What's your schedule? Who are you talking to? What platforms are you leveraging? And what are you driving? And where are you driving people? So where are you driving people? Where are you sending them? So I have to exit out of this again. So if I come up here, like when I go to the Venice site, so when I talk to someone, where do I drive? I drive them to VeniceNutrition.com. And right here, there's under programs, there's that. So you don't need a robust site, but you need a place where you're driving them. So whether it's a lead page, there has to be a landing page that you're driving them. When I speak and people want to find out more about me, I drive them to my blog or the Mark McDonald site. So I'm not saying, hey, you need to do all these different sites, but what I'm saying is that when you start thinking about traffic, is you have to continually ask yourself these things. What's your plan? What's your schedule? Who are you talking to? What platforms are you leveraging? And where are you driving people? If you're leveraging Facebook without a place that you're driving them, a great marketing guru told me Facebook is not a place to sell. Facebook is a place you can sell a little on it, but it's mostly a place to build a following, to drive them to a place to then for them to be part of your list that then you can sell. So this is where you have to keep thinking. So what my objective and my goal for you tonight and for the next 2 weeks is I want you to get a clear idea of what is your actual traffic plan and find 5 things. I want you to schedule 2 hours a day or an hour a day on developing your traffic funnel. What's your plan for your one-on-one for your group coaching and for your online. How are you going to increase your traffic? Who are you talking to? What platforms are you leveraging? And where are you driving? Kelly Bonama was the idea with me. And I love, by the way, I love Periscope. Kelly said, hey, you got to do Periscope. I said, I'm still trying to learn how to maximize Facebook and Instagram. Let me own those first, and then I'll do another platform. We get so caught up on social media that it makes us think that we have to do all that. Brendan Burchard said one of the best things that I saw at IDEA. Brendan Burchard said that if you want to improve your productivity by 30%, don't look at your email, don't go on Facebook till noon. Your first couple hours in the day, simply look at what are your tasks for that day, what people are associated to that task, and how can you improve your overall business that day. If you take on that strategy that I learned from Brendan, and I've been doing that, and let me tell you, it's made my life so much easier. So I'm not reactive, because he was so spot on. He said that when you open up an email, you become reactive to what people are wanting from you. You as a leader need to determine what you want. So that's your traffic funnel. Make sense to everybody? Everyone have that? Okay, last slide, and then I'm going to show you something else, is your marketing plan. So marketing to me needs to be very simple. Traffic right now where you sit. Now, the more farther away you go away from touching people, the more robust your marketing plan needs to be. So if you want to have great online traffic, then you need to look at SEO, and you have less time. You have 5 seconds to convert people. Where when you're one-on-one with someone or a group of someone, you have a longer period of time for them to be engaged with you. When you speak, you have about 7 minutes until you change a story. So what's your plan? What's your message? What's your schedule? And what tools are you using? So let's talk about that. What's your plan? What's your message? What's your schedule? And what tools are you using? Are you clear on who you're speaking to? You know, I was in a meeting in Orlando, and I was talking with Janess, and we were meeting with great people, all the top people. And I said, who are we supposed to talk to? What's the goal with Janess on weight loss? And the goal is we want to, and the one other reply from someone in the room was, we want to speak to everybody. I said, and that's why things aren't succeeding at the rate you want them to. We all want to help everybody, but we have to be clear on who we're speaking to and then how we lead them. The 8-week run, to me, the Detox, Ignite, Thrive, if you will look at the 8-week run coaching series, what's the bonus video? Taking your body to the next level with the body confidence plan. So the whole point to me, and then what's after that if someone wants to take it further? Become a certified nutritionist. What's after that? Start teaching people. My whole goal is you have to speak to people where they are and you can lead them. But you have to first get clear on what's your message and who are you speaking to. Once you're clear on that, then you develop your plan and your strategy. And then you have to set up your schedule and then determine what tools you're using. So let's go back to this document. I want you to look at this schedule. And this is going to be a document I'm going to recommend everyone download. I'm going to show you where you can download it. But right here, this is an example of how you can make it work. So 6 a.m., wake up, eat. This used to be my schedule, okay, when I was coaching full-time. Wake up, eat, work out. So you see no emails yet. Shower, get ready, review day, set up. 30-minute health assessment, eat, perform strategy 1 task. And this is what it goes back down to on what the strategy. When I look here and you say strategy 1, contact, influence, warm leads. Then coaching follow-up, 30-minute health assessment, perform strategy 1 task. So I'm still staying there, eat lunch, perform strategy 2, strategy 4, strategy 3, 30-minute health assessment, see evening clients. So this is how you can set up a day. But when I was doing this, I was then systematically looking at how can I implement more? Because what happened was, as I made those 200 calls for the first year of my business, guess what happened? I didn't have to keep making those same amount of calls because I was getting sharper on my traffic and my assessment and my program presentation and on my coaching sessions, that I was getting tons of referrals. So the time I used to have to spend on generating traffic, it was naturally coming to me. My traffic was naturally increasing. The busier I got, and then we elevated the digital offerings and residual offerings, guess what happened? My time became more valuable. People would pay more to work with me. So my rates went up. This is how it all flows, guys. And tonight's webinar was about showing you the bigger picture about what you really need to do to increase your traffic and get clear on your marketing. You can simply have one web page and one flyer. When I go back to the Venice site, it's as simple as when I go here and I go to program and I go to coaching, it's as simple as a nutrition and fitness assessment program presentation and all follow-up sessions. I could do one. So when I would be coaching people, I would simply lay out when I was doing an assessment, I would be laying out that, and I'd have one flyer that would drive people into assessment. So like what I would do right now if I was building this business from the point of nutrition is I would be doing my practice, and I'd be doing 8-week experiences. And then I'd have a one-on-one coaching rate and I have a group coaching rate, and I'd be building from that across the board. And I would leverage that. And that's how I would start. And then as I started more and more time, I'd start sectioning my days on how to put more time aside. So to recap, guys, let me go back to PowerPoint. Is your assignments for the next 2 weeks is to, number one, get clear and evaluate your touch points. What are you doing one-on-one, group, and online? What's your percentage? And how can you plan on shifting that percentage? I don't care if it's a year from now, but how can you plan on that? Because if not, you will burn yourself out. I'm telling you right now, if you don't start evolving, you're going to burn yourself out. Time cash flow, digital cash flow, residual revenue. Start chipping away at that. What's the percentage of each? Where do you want to go? Building your list. Traffic, opt-in, offer, close, enrollment. Now I'm going to dive into details and role playing on the next 4-part series, but we're focused on traffic and marketing right now. What's your plan with your traffic funnel? What's your schedule? Who are you talking to? What platforms are you leveraging? Where are you driving people? And then what's your marketing plan? How do you plan on who are you speaking to? What's the simplest entry point that you can drive people to? What's your message? What's your schedule? And what tools are you using? Facebook, social media, that's a great form of marketing. Where are you driving them to? What's your message? So to wrap, I want to show you when we talk about the Coaches Network. When you log into the Coaches Network, you click on the New Coach tab. You simply download Step-by-Step Building Your Business Action Plan. Now, I'm going to have new documents, and we're going to be doing new videos. That's going to dive into this. But at the end of the day, generating clients and enrolling people is the same. Now, I know we all want an online presence, and we all want to develop that, and we all want to create digital offerings, and that's all fantastic. But for the majority of everyone on this webinar, it's your cash flow. So you have to get sharper at what you're doing. And then what I did is as I hit that schedule that I showed you, and I'll go back to that right now. As I hit this schedule right here, every night I'd come home for 2 hours and I created our certification. I created the duplicatable model, and I would sacrifice that time. And then as I was able to raise my rates, instead of working till 6:30, I stopped at 5, and then I would spend 2 more hours developing. And then I started creating more time in the morning to develop. So I slowly and steadily, I chipped away at everything so that I could create my time cash flow, my digital cash flow, and my residual cash flow. Okay, so before I wrap this up, I want to make sure, does this make sense to everyone before I do the Q&A as well? Is everyone with me on the same page? Let me get some feedback on this. Okay, perfect. Excellent. So assignments are very simple. Let's get your marketing and get clear on where your traffic's coming from. Get clear on the percentages that you're doing. And I want to leave you with one of the best business things that I've been taught. In life, it's great to make money. It's great to have freedom. But what's most important to me is the ability to empower people. Empower people to understand that we can make a difference in this world. Anthony Robbins was talking about missions and looking at being part of something bigger than yourselves. When I was having a conversation with Paula last week, that's what she was saying. She loves being part of something bigger than herself. When we were talking, it was actually 2 weeks ago. And that's what this community is, and that's what I want these webinars to be. Things aren't as clean and as clear as we want them to be at times. There's going to be challenges. We all experience them. But the commitment here is for us to grow together as one and systematically make a difference in this world. My mission for forever is to help people get their body back and to help fellow entrepreneurs get their time back. And together, we can do this. And I want each and every one of you to experience the freedom to understand the 2-3 types of revenue and to be able to spread your message with the world at the level that you want to. It's an honor to be partnered with you. I love and appreciate each of you. I'm going to stop the recording, then I'm going to talk a little bit about what's happened in Orlando, and I'm going to open up to the Q&A. But thanks, everyone. And once again, thanks for leading this charge right by my side.